Okay, let me turn this down. I don't know if you guys can even hear this music. I don't know what's going on. So I'm doing something new. As you can see, the whole layout has changed, and I am, let's just say, a last minute patch. I forced a restart and destroyed everything that I had planned. So it's kind of a dog ate my homework kind of episode. But it won't really change much. If you are in chat, say hello if you can, if you want to, and test some things out. I was going to try out Streamlabs, and it keeps on eating a ton of resources on my system. I don't quite understand why. I switched over to Streamlabs. Not Streamlabs, Stream Elements, and everything is connected and everything is supposed to be working, but some layout issues might exist because I just started this process and I figured I'd just jump in with both feet and see what happens. And I'm watching things to see if they're going to break. I just don't know what to expect. But at any rate, I am Mayor Watt. I'm kind of being casual today more than usual. I've reversed course and I started preparing stuff, and then all of this happened where it destroyed everything. So I'm gonna just vamp like I normally do, and see where it takes us. A bunch of news came out of RPG Fan, and it kind of flooded my aggregator with information. So the front page basically has that. But I'll continue going through this. It's going to be troublesome because so much information has passed since I had started aggregating stuff, or I should say, going through it to find things that we could talk about today. So let me see if I can find some things. Let me tell you, it probably would have been easier to not change everything, because the moment that all I did was update a piece of software, and it created kind of a cascade across my system, uninstalling something and breaking configurations. It was just not a good time. And I've never had a problem with this stuff before, so forgive any headaches. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's to just roll with it and not that be a big deal, but it's going to be messy. Okay, so again, I am Mayor Watt. I'm the mayor of ohmTown. ohmTown is a news aggregation site and community I'm hoping more people find interesting than just me. It was actually started to be nothing more than an aggregator online for me. But then I decided that I was going to make it public, and it aggregates news into 6 main categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. You can actually go to the site and sign up now, become a citizen of ohmTown, and earn what amounts to credits. It's referred to as ohm, and you will eventually be able to spend that ohm on products from ohmTown. So if you're interested in becoming, if you're really into coffee and you want a mug, you can order an Order of the Bean mug of varying kinds. It's not all integrated yet, but the objective is to get to that point. But it really requires people to be interested in it. There's actually more content over to the left and right, but you have to be signed in, and I've chopped it off. So it's easier to look at all the other stuff that's going around on the screen now. So when you become a follower, you'll see right above me some activity, and over there is going to be some more activity from the chat. And I kind of got this little bubble kind of look to it going on. So I hope you like the new interface. Now, what I'm going to end up doing is doing what I normally have done up until about maybe a week ago, where I started prepping a little more. All of this stuff is probably going to be from RPG Fan. They just kind of plopped out a whole bunch of information about awards. And if you are interested in it, then you can obviously go over to RPG Fan, or you can go to ohmTown. And when you click on the links, you'll get taken to a little news blurb of it, not the whole article. And then you can click on the link and get taken to RPG Fan. But I'm going to go back to the front page and scroll down a little bit to get to more diverse news. Yeah, things are kind of getting weird again in politics. I try not to get too deep into them in the stream. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily prove fruitful. Sorry, I read the news pretty much when you guys do, or when you review something. Feel free, if you find something interesting on the screen, let me know. I might miss it, but a lot of this seems to. Oh, this is actually a pretty funny article. I'll load it up and then we can talk about it. The coolest new drops this week, from Wrangler Denim to Agent Provocateur. Agent Provocateur is a clothing line, so is Wrangler Denim, but Agent Provocateur has another meaning, which kind of amounts to troublemaker. But a little worse than that. But when it comes to the clothing, it's actually lingerie. But there's more to this. I had grabbed this right before my complete implosion while I was preparing for this stream. Oh my God, there's so many things that I can't really talk about. My gosh. Okay. Let's see if I can find something. This is probably the nuttiest stream that I've had so far. Louis Anderson. Hitman 3 launches. We'll come back and talk about all of this stuff. Let's keep on going. There was more. There was a pretty diverse number of articles, array of articles. And then when I collapsed, it all went wonky, even on the site itself, in that it all kind of got processed in a different way. The Betty White challenge, we'll open that one. Let's see, there's got to be more. And really, this is going to be the nuttiest stream that I've done so far. Here, y'all can listen to some music. Feel free to ask questions if you are in my chat. Huh. I'm not losing packets. I don't know what's going on. I just heard weird little glitch in my music. Oh my goodness, it's already 6:26. I was actually going to talk a little bit about this Retirement Weekly article, but I'm not sure if anybody even wants to hear about that kind of stuff. It's too real. Okay, so I'm gonna have to edit this stream so that the post somewhere else says jump 30 minutes ahead. And I'm gonna make this a short stream because I just feel like I've fallen apart here. So this article from Vice, if you go to ohmTown and then you click on the link that says the coolest new drops this week from Wrangler Denim to Agent Provocateur. When you click on the link, it'll take you here, and you should just go through this and read it. It's a fun read. And it has some interesting items in it. I scrolled down through here, and there goes the Agent Provocateur and some other adult content. Oh my goodness. And then I ended up coming back here, and I think it was, where was it? Oh, it was this article here on Vice. So when you click this link, it says lumbersexual. When you click on the link and you scroll through it, it's quite entertaining of a read. They talk about chairs. This is a pretty neat one where it says the low-key statement chair, and it says you're not trying but kind of are, but no one would know that you reign over your outdoor space from this mucho architectural mid-century PVC chair going off on how you want to be buried in Alexander Calder cufflinks. I thought it was funny. You like lawn games that involve sharp objects and heavy drinking. This game here, it's called Stump. And basically you drink and hammer a nail into a stump. Oh, you have to flip a hammer and then try to hammer a nail into a stump. And it says it's either from Germany or East Coast boarding schools, depending on whom you ask. Thought it was funny. You smell like sap and pit charred quail. Thought that's kind of funny. And it's about a blanket. And then there's this cooler that is daddy cool. It says that they want you, you want it, but more in a, I wish someone would bury me in that kind of way. It's quite funny. So anyway, if you go over to Vice, you'll find it. All you have to do is do a search and look for the Vice starter pack for becoming a backyard lumberjack. But really the thing that got my piqued my curiosity is we're revving our engines for a lumbersexual Sherpa lined denim jacket. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, but I'm easily amused, I suppose. So anyway, let's move on. The continuity report ingested from Roger Ebert. This, I guess, kind of an overview. I'll click the link on Louis Anderson. Quite a while ago, he kind of fell off of my radar, but he was somewhat entertaining while I saw him. Apparently, he died at 68. Yeah, let's just say screw cancer. So yeah, he had stayed in the industry for quite some time. So if you are interested in reading more about it, you can go over to rogerebert.com. Under Warcrafters is Hitman 3 launches to mixed Steam reviews. $60 game. And I've watched others play Hitman, but I've never really gotten into it. I actually think that it's too slow for me, and it doesn't have the other elements that make that kind of motivate me to play a game. I like open world base building kind of games, and Hitman just didn't do it for me. But people are getting kind of burnt out on $60 games. It's getting hard to justify $60 while at the same time there isn't anything else to it, right? Like it's just that game, and I don't know how to describe it other than that. It just doesn't seem like it's really rising to $60 when you can get some serious engagement in other games that are much less expensive. And what's really interesting about this is back, oh man, I'll be dating myself if I say this, but back 40 years ago, games were $60, but they had packaging and print material and took up space on shelves. And the only thing that really changed was now all of the physical media is gone. The prices remain the same, but where did the extra benefit come from? I mean, there's really big games. Let me see something real quick. I'm going to pull something up. Right. I think Cyberpunk 2077. So Cyberpunk 2077 was this grandiose game, and it's very expansive and very engaging. And now there's Dying Light 2, which supposedly has hundreds of hours of gameplay. And I've seen it. I saw it this morning, and it is amazing looking. And those are $60 games, right? Even with the screw up. Yes, I know Cyberpunk 2077 had a lot of glitchy stuff in it and shortcomings, but that's what I'm getting at, right? There isn't enough there to warrant $60. And I'm not saying that the developers don't deserve $60. Software engineering is very, very difficult, and it's complex, and it has a lot of moving parts. There's voice acting, and there's 3D modeling, and it's basically one and done, right? So they have to ask for what they perceive is the value on it. But as a customer, I find it hard to pay $60. There are people out there that will, without a doubt, find $60 worth of value in a game, like Hitman 3. But speaking in regards to what people are saying, there's the quote right there. The price tag is insulting considering how many of us have waited a whole year for this to arrive on Steam just so that we can have an entire trilogy on the same client. It's just not enough value. So, and another one is $60 for a game that's a year old, no discounts for any of the games, no franchise sale, no discount for people that own H1 and H2 on Steam, nothing, wrote another user. I don't get it. I see this stuff in certain movies where it's never gone on sale, and it's really old and the value just doesn't seem to be there, but people still want it. And so I guess it's that little bit of, wow, I really want it. That's powering this locked price at 60, or a price that for a movie is, $30 on some on a streaming service like Apple. When you buy it, even my software, I have a piece of software that says that I'm not purchasing the software, I'm purchasing a license. Now I understand IP law. I tell people that when you don't own the item itself, you have a perpetual license to use it. And when you own it, you still have a perpetual license to use it. And you also have for sale doctrine rights where you can sell it to somebody else. The software that I've recently purchased, Yeah, I won't say recently because that's subjective. So the piece of software that I'm talking about says in its terms of use, it's called a EULA, but its license says that not only do I only have a license to use it, but I can't even transfer it to somebody else. I can't give my copy of it. If I delete it from my system and give somebody the copy, or they buy it from me because I own it, I don't actually own it. I have to get permission from the vendor to hand it off to somebody else, saying like, I am done, right? So you want to use it anymore? I don't want to give it to somebody else or sell it to somebody else. I can't do it. To me, it smacks of I own a car, but I can't sell it until I go somewhere and say, hey, can I sell this car to you, to somebody else? I go back to Ford and say, hey, can I sell this? It's really weird. I just don't get it. I don't get this. I understand the motivation, and these terms of use really kind of muddy the water about who owns what. And I got there from looking at this. The price is high enough that if I play the game and I beat it and I want to give it to somebody else, I can't give it to somebody else. And that's how it is with a $60 game. I can play it once and then I'm done. Whereas open world base building kind of games where you can like Minecraft, right? Minecraft and there's another one. Well, there's a lot of games like that, but Minecraft is probably one of the most well-known ones where the replayability is just off the wall, and it was only $20 when I purchased it, and cheaper in other instances, right? Because I've bought several copies of it now, different ways, different platforms for different people. But anyway, the $60, it doesn't make any sense, but we'll see what happens with that. Just like 2077, people kind of move on and forget, and nothing really changes in that whole dynamic there. But let's continue on. I don't want to run too late. Unless somebody in chat starts talking, I'd be happy to chat with you. Under the continuity report, there is the Betty White Challenge on Facebook. Instagram raises $12.7 million for animal shelters. Betty White was a lifelong animal lover, as it says right here. And made donations. And this article is from Variety. You can always click that link. When you click it, it'll take you over there. And yeah, definitely go and check it out. And if you can, donate yourself. We're donating all the time to various shelters here. In fact, we have something that's prepped and ready to go right now in our garage. So in the cold winter months around the planet, animals need some care and feeding. So donate and give blankets, old towels and stuff like that. Even old towels. Shelters really appreciate that kind of stuff because then they can put it in as bedding. Okay, so this is Pete Davidson and Colin Jost just bought a Staten Island ferry. Two cast members were among a group of investors who won an auction of a retired ferry boat with a bid of $280,000. And a desire to restore a piece of New York. This is from New York Times. It was a New York City mystery. Who would pay more than $280,000 for a hulking orange 57-year-old Staten Island ferry whose engines don't work? Now that can be repaired. Obviously, it's going to get more expensive, but if the old versions of the ferries are being destroyed, maybe keeping a piece of history of New York history is a good thing. Yeah. I haven't been to New York for a while, but if they're moving away from that old style of ferry to something else, saving a piece of history is always good. If you don't remember it, you forget it, and then sometimes repeat the worst of it. In the Word in Tech, we have Ozzy Osbourne's NFT project shared a scam link and followers lost thousands of dollars. This article is from The Verge. And this is one of the problems with anything. If you just click a link and take it as being, legitimate without verifying anything, you can end up in some serious trouble. So this says, but just 2 days after the tokens were minted, supporters are being targeted by a phishing scam that drains cryptocurrency from their wallets, playing off a bad link shared by the project's official Twitter account. And unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to get the original money back. There might be a way to recover the value, but getting the original might be difficult. Again, this comes from The Verge. Feel free to go through ohmTown or just go straight over to The Verge. An outdated URL tricked CryptoBats followers into visiting a fake Discord. And then they go into greater detail. Yeah, I hope they don't. Oh God, they actually did. They kept the the project used a slightly different vanity URL, and they actually posted that. Now, I hope that it's gone. I'm not going to click the link, but that's a real bummer that these things happen. But trust but verify. That is what I tell everybody. Trust but verify. Stock market's off to worst start since 2016 as Fed fights inflation. So where does inflation come from? It's not a simple answer. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It takes a series of increases in the price of items for it to cascade across the entire economy and cause inflation. So where is the source of all of these price increases? Why are these prices increasing? Is it because of the pandemic? Because there's a lot of mixed messages about the pandemic. We know that people are sick. We know that production is down. But in countries where, at least the United States, production sources are, I have been hearing that publicly they're saying there's no problem. Privately, there's still major problems. And as the orders are being ramped up for fulfillment, now we're getting a bottleneck in harbors, right? So you can't get enough boats to the dock to offload their material. And then you've got a bunch of people that are sick that can't drive it out of the dock. So it's really a big cluster, but this is opportunistic inflation. There are people that are raising the prices, but the higher prices aren't necessarily needed. If there is something more to it, then please let me know. But the means of production haven't been constrained other than the supposed illnesses, which again, I get mixed messages. Some people say that it's not happening and other people are saying that it is happening. I see that it's happening. Don't get me wrong. I know for a fact that COVID is still hammering people, the economy, society in general. But what should be happening is automation should be taking over. One thing that doesn't break down as often is automation. And unfortunately, automated systems in places like the docks isn't even allowed. It gets hobbled. But we would have fewer problems if there was greater automation, which kind of brings me to the next point, because what really should be happening is mitigating the harm that's caused by illnesses in people. Unfortunately, it gets treated as an opportunity to make massive amounts of money. Arguably, there's a lot of research and stuff that needs to research and stuff. It makes it sound so basic. Or me being simple about it. I know it's a complex issue. I know that there is some fundamental research that needs to be done. And it always has been. But you know, when a single syringe is costing $25,000 and you have to take it 4 times a year, it seems to be outstripping logic. But I'm sure more reasonable minds than me, right, are going to be clamoring to tell me that, well, it's only a niche drug, or this isn't a major problem. Well, inflation is stalling people in their potential growth. Okay, 7% interest or increase in inflation is twice as much as the standard of living increase that most people get. Not even most people, that some people might get. Government workers don't even get close to it anymore. Employees that work for the public don't get 3% anymore. But inflation, if a company or a person or an organization has the means to produce something, they see this now as a moment to shine, where they raise the cost of goods, of raw goods. It's quite the opposite. Fewer things are being consumed because of the pandemic, right? We're not spending as much on gas. We're buying more food and making it at home and not going to restaurants where it's more expensive and you run the chance of getting COVID. So what really is going on? But paper products and other things were being purchased just as normally. There were runs, but it's because everybody was getting it at the same time for fear of it not being there. But if technology was leveraged, you could still produce. And most of it is being produced in automated fashions. It isn't some person sitting in a backyard shredding paper. These are massive machines that are making paper, yet everything is increasing in price. From what? There's more to it. And I would love people to come into my chat and talk, because it's just me saying certain things, but nothing to me makes sense as to why inflation exists right now. We have constrained production in foreign countries that usually supply our consumer market. We have almost zero domestic production, which brings me to one of the other articles that I clicked on. To me, it just smacks of being hobbled. countrywide. The U.S. economy is being hobbled. And it's something that I mentioned, and it's something that I speak to people about, and that is, previously, one of the things that I would ask people is, what's something that could compromise what could do great harm to society? And 8 years ago, my biggest impactor on society would be manipulating an election to make people question the integrity of the vote. And this was 8 years ago that I was talking about it with people. Prior to that, I even said one of the biggest things that could bring down the United States would be that foreign markets, formerly budget producers of goods, would turn it off because they've made enough money and they've weaned themselves off of our economic process of consumption. And I'm a consumer too, so don't think that I'm just saying all of you consumers cause this. That's not even close to what I'm saying. But if we rely on so much production that's outside the United States, that means that the moment that they've made enough money, whoever they are, foreign markets, made enough money, and that U.S. money has left, they could just stop, slow it down. Is it conspiratorial sounding? Sure as hell is. Is it truly happening? Maybe by proxy. We have an illness that is slowing down the means of production, and the people that have the means of production running because of their money, right? They spun up the businesses. They funded the production, and now consumers can't purchase it. Well, prices increase because those who have the money will still pay for it, and people who can't afford it won't be able to pay for it. So, it goes back to that. I got mine. So it's just a mess. It's really just a mess. But prices shouldn't be increasing this high. To me, there's no rational answer to this, short of profiteering. But when a large enough group does something, all the rest have to follow suit. Because if the cost of goods at the producer level increases to the people who take it from the raw production and turn it into something, they have to raise their rates or their margins get smaller. And if their margins are so small that they can't persist, then they have to raise those rates. And all the way down the line you go until the consumer has to pay more than ever, simply because there are so many layers taking a little bit more or charging a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know what's going to come of it, but what I've looked at, the data that I have looked at, the data that I've gathered suggests we're looking at 1970s era inflation. So we'll see what happens. And this is just the beginning of it. Maybe some Fed controls can limit it. But if you want to know more about it, stock markets off to worst start since 2016 as Fed fights inflation. Go to this link, NewYorkTimes.com, and you'll see it. You can go through ohmTown. The sub community is Mobile. Go and check it out, and I'll keep moving on. And this is why I link these two articles together. So at the Daily News Show at ohmTown, that group has the article that was ingested from ABC News, and it's titled "Intel Investing $20 Billion to Bring Chip Manufacturing to Ohio Amid Shortage." I referred to it a good 12 years ago, called repatria sourcing, which is basically pulling back the production from foreign markets. We have historically facilitated making systems better. U.S. engineers have gone overseas, and then from there, the engineers in these foreign markets have the same skills and abilities as everybody else. So they make theirs better, but we didn't keep production within the United States because the economics in the United States didn't make sense. The people with the means of production said, well, we can go somewhere else and exploit the labor in those countries. And by exploit, I mean it sounds so negative to say exploit, but I'm not talking about the negative connotation of exploitation. I'm not talking about abusing them. It's paying the rate that is acceptable in that foreign market, arguably, right? Interesting things. We can talk about it more if you're interested, but come back at 6 another day. If you're in my chat, post a message. But we can go down this road. But at any rate, producers, companies will go to wherever it is cheapest to have something produced. That way the margin is greater domestically. And because it's greater domestically, they have the ability to save more money, invest it somewhere else, and make money on money, not make money on producing a good or providing a service. And those two things, producing, charging somebody for a product or a service, those two things require you to continuously do things. Okay. But investing $100,000 in a stock requires somebody else to do things. Basically, the entire company has to do smart actions, and that investment of $100,000 will continue to accrue value. The stock will go up, it'll split, it'll give dividends. If you poison pill it, then you can say something publicly that causes the stock to go down and you short it. It's totally unethical, but people do it. Then they get investigated by the SEC, and the charge that's brought against them is just a sliver of the profits that they make. And again, we go down the rabbit hole of following the money, but producing stuff domestically in the United States is astronomically more expensive because we have environmental and HR rules and regulations that if you don't follow them, you run afoul of the law, and there's a lot of oversight, and rightfully so, because as I say in my other videos, abuse happens in the dark, and no company should be powerful enough to ruin somebody because they see abuse happening and talk about it. But you hear about it time and time again. So when this manufacturing comes back, are they going to be producing a product at a price point that makes sense to domestic consumers? I don't know. Prices are going to have to increase, which means that inflation is going to increase. We have food producers that are saying that the cost of food is going to increase, and it already has. I think the quote was cheap food. The days of cheap food is over. My goodness. Yeah, it's always cost $20 for from fast food for, well, not always, don't get me wrong. So like the last 5 years, a meal for 3 people is at least $20 from fast food, and it's increasing. I'd like to get some more stats so that I can actually show it in a chart. But prices are increasing, that's for sure. I swear I've purchased the other day, I think I purchased what should have been 2/3 the price. But it was quite pricey. It made me flinch, but I had to spend it. Otherwise, there's no food in the house. So let's see if Intel is going to produce these chips at a reasonable price. And speaking of reasonable price, outside the box, it's an article over at MarketWatch. Peloton's stock price is disconnected from reality, and it will fall below $15 before hitting rock bottom. So if you click that link, you'll go over to MarketWatch and you'll be able to see more about it. But they mention here at the very top, Apple and Amazon are competitors. Well, sort of. Apple isn't really a competitor outside of providing a means to stimulate you into working out. So you can do all kinds of exercises while watching videos from Apple's exercise app. But there's no hardware involved there. A Peloton is actually a pretty expensive piece of kit and a subscription, whereas Apple is just the subscription, and you can pretty much roll your own, whatever it might be that you're interested in doing. And, getting a rowing machine is only like $200 versus a $2,000 bike or other stuff, apparently. And I've kind of forgotten about it. But then they're kind of pulling everything together into their comparisons are against like Nautilus and Lululemon, Planet Fitness. There's so many competitors if you create tranches of risk that this is by far not a comprehensive list of who is going to be impacting Peloton. What was the one that Tonal is the one that I was looking at recently. And the only thing that I ever hear about that, I'm surprised that it's not in this, because Tonal is doing what appears to be a marketing resurgence. Maybe it's just me because I clicked on a link for Tonal and all hell has broken loose in my marketing model. I'm now the target for Tonal, which, if you can't tell by me filling out this camera, I am the target for Tonal. Particularly in COVID days. I'm not going to be going to a gym anytime soon. Anyway, when the data just doesn't support a stock being at a certain price, then it's irrational exuberance. And we've seen this before. Even Amazon is priced outside what would normally be expected for a company, except for the fact that there is potential growth there continuously. Maybe 2022 is the limit for that, because everybody who could switch to Amazon for consuming a lot of goods have already gone to Amazon. I mean, it's not unheard of to not go to Target or some other place because you can get it from Amazon and it shows up on your doorstep pretty darn quick. I've actually ordered stuff in the morning and got it that afternoon. And I think that is spectacular service, faster than me being able to get out to Target. So what do you think? Is Peloton worth its price? Throw it in chat. Come and talk to me tomorrow. I'm going to be closing up shop here pretty soon. Star Trek Picard Season 2 trailer offers first look at Whoopi Goldberg's return as Gainan. This is from Variety. I haven't seen the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer yet. But I am going to go watch it as soon as I close up shop here. Gainan was a character that nobody really understood her origin story. Nobody really understood her knowledge of Q. Yeah, I'm hoping that the story expands. And we know that John Delancey is going to be coming back as Q. And apparently the Borg Queen will be back too. Annie Wershing is going to be back as the Borg Queen. Well, this is going to get very interesting. So let's see what Star Trek Picard is going to look like for season 2. It's a long time coming. And that's at the continuity report. And when you click the link, you'll get taken over to Variety, which is the source of this news. I am really excited about Knives Out 2. I like the idea of it. Knives Out, the first Knives Out was really great. This is another Variety article. Knives Out 2 expected to drop in late 2022. Fall Festival debut likely. So this is an exclusive by Clayton Davis. Go over to Variety and check it out. Feel free to come back to the chat, come back to my stream, and we can talk about it. But it's going to be streaming on Netflix. What a deal. So it was a fun watch, the original Knives Out. Go and check it out. And finally, the word in tech, the best Chromebook for 2022. This is an article from The Verge. And I kind of take exception to Chromebooks and anything other than a laptop. They have a purpose. They have a reason to exist, and it's usually a budget-minded thing. And if you spend $500 to $600 on a Chromebook, you should probably get a lower-end PC that isn't a Chromebook. And I say this because it's not all software run on Chromebooks. This says the best Chromebooks aren't just laptops that run a few Google apps anymore. Chromebooks can cover a wide variety of computing needs now, and a good Chrome OS laptop or two, or 2-in-1 can be more useful than a mediocre Windows or Mac OS laptop. And I beg to differ entirely with that. You can do everything that a Chromebook can do, even on a mediocre Windows or Mac OS system. A Windows machine can run any piece of software pretty much, but you'll never be able to put 3D modeling software on a Chrome OS system. And if you are in a technology, if you're in school and you are in technology, Chromebooks are not where it's at. They do great for certain things, but running full desktop applications are not in the cards for Chrome OS, particularly in fields that require a broad array of requirements. I can't describe it other than particularly cybersecurity, IT, programming, so computer science. If you're neck deep in 3D modeling or video manipulation, audio manipulation, you're not going to be doing this on a Chromebook. And I'm sure that there is some niche person out there that is just so great at Chrome OS that, yeah, they can do this on a Chromebook. But when you're fresh out of high school and you're rolling into college, or you're in high school, you need a real Windows or Mac OS system. And I don't think that anything will, if there is somebody out there that can do this kind of stuff, this higher end stuff on a Chrome OS system, please come and talk to me. I would like to know the best practices for using a Chrome OS system to help students because you don't need to spend $500 to $600 on a Chrome OS system when you can spend $500 to $600 on a mediocre Windows machine and get everything you need. But they'll continue. I mean, they have a purpose. They have a reason to exist. They're inexpensive. They're rugged as an OS. Hard to exploit. Somewhat. There's always, sorry for the coughing into the mic. Just don't let anybody have direct contact with your laptop in general, mobile devices in general, for any extended period of time. But anyway, that's the paranoid tech in me speaking. So go and check out the Verge article on the best Chromebooks for 2022. And I think I'm just going to end it right there. Be sure to come back tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern. ohmTown.com is always available to you. Go over, sign up, become a citizen of ohmTown. Come back to my chat. I'm going to be doing this every day, 6 o'clock. I might extend it. I might come in midday some days. Weekends, I might play a game. But for the most part, we're going to be talking about the news for, wow, there's a lot of duplicates today. You got to work on this site. I'll see you tomorrow.